Doctor Strange. You think you know how the world works? What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to. Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality. We travel great distances in an instant.
How do I get from here to there?
How did you become a doctor?
Study and practice, years of it.
There's a strength to him.
But is he ready? Be careful which paths you travel down, Strange. Stronger men than you have lost their way. I am death. And pain. You'll die protecting this world.
I can't do this.
There is no other way.
I've spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
What's this, my mantra?
It's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages.
Happy Comic-Con Day 4, so we finally got new Doctor Strange footage. Benedict Cumberbatch came to Comic-Con, they put on this huge show, so let's break it down. So much better look at the actual magic of Doctor Strange. This is really cool. They're bending space in a very Inception, Matrix-y way. Like they're basically saying that the reality that we perceive, like us normal people, or even someone like Tony Stark or Captain America or any of the Avengers beyond Thor. Thor and the Asgardians probably know a little bit about magic, but the way they're shaping reality in the trailer here makes it seem like the waking conscious world is really just a dream. And you can kind of see Mads Mikkelsen's character takes it to the edge of destruction. Like by the end of the trailer, New York turns into this M.C. Escher nightmare. And you begin to wonder as they're chasing each other through the trailer, if the normal people on the street just walking around are perceiving all these changes. The portal effects are amazing. We travel great distances in a very short amount of time. There was a prequel comic that got a little sciencey about the way it explained, like they basically are manipulating energy from another dimension. So you probably know some version of his backstory. He's a surgeon, like a brilliant surgeon who's kind of an asshole. He's kind of like a doctor version of Tony Stark. They have a very similar arc. They even kind of look like each other, which is why Tony Stark is totally high-fiving him here. Magical mustache bros for life. So he gets into an accident, and even though his hands heal, they don't heal well enough for him to perform surgery anymore. So he can't do the thing that makes him special anymore. So he wanders all over the globe looking for someone to heal him when he finds the Ancient One. So obviously the movie's gonna have a version of that. You see Rachel McAdams' character. She's the character that will connect him to the human world, someone who worked with him before. She's gonna be another doctor. But in the context of the movie universe, she's really like Night Nurse. She's this person in New York City that all the vigilantes, all the heroes go to when they can't go to a real hospital to protect their identities. So we see a little taste of the Sanctum Sanctorum, we see the Cloak of Levitation, we see the Eye of Agamotto. I know a lot of people are wondering if the Time Gem's in there because, based on the way they explain Star-Lord's father in Guardians of the Galaxy, it sounds like the Soul Gem might show up in that movie. So I'm guessing if there's a gem in Doctor Strange, it's going to wind up being the Time Gem. This is Wong. In the prequel comic, they set it up that he's just another magician. He's not going to be the manservant that he is in the comics. He's actually a much bigger character in the scope of the movie. Like he's a full-fledged magician, just like Baron Mordo and just like Mads Mikkelsen's character. So if you didn't see my last Doctor Strange video, Mads Mikkelsen is playing the main villain. They've since revealed him to be Caecilius. Now he's a little bit different than the Caecilius character of the comics, so you don't really need to worry about that too much. In the context of the movie, like the prequel comic kind of sets him up. He's part of their order, he's one of the more skilled people in their order, but for unknown reasons, he runs afoul of something in the dark dimension, and that's what puts him on this dark path till he goes full Darth Vader and becomes the villain that you see in the movie. As is the case with a lot of big Disney, Marvel, Star Wars movies, there have been toy sets that have spoiled some of the big twists in the movie, so you might know about one of the other big villains from the Doctor Strange comics that are showing up. But in the way that Ant-Man was an origin story for that character while being relatively self-contained, having a couple links to the Avengers films, like we saw Falcon, we saw that flashback at the beginning that was kind of like the origin of S.H.I.E.L.D., like Hank Pym was like, peace out, I'm not working with Starks. So just like that, this is going to be a relatively self-contained movie because this is the first time that we're really learning about magic in the Marvel Universe. There is a little overlap with Thor, but the way he explains it, is that magic is just like science that you haven't explained yet. This kind of magic is almost the same thing, but just kind of leaning in the other direction. Like there probably is a scientific way within the context of the Marvel Universe to explain what Doctor Strange does. I'm sure whenever he crosses over in an actual Avengers movie, they'll have a couple of jokes about that. Like Tony Stark will try to figure it out. Like, okay, I'm a scientist, I can totally figure out this magic stuff. What's the trick? Like when he was trying to lift Thor's hammer, he was like, okay, like what's the saying go? Whoever has the fingerprints of Thor. So I'll be really interested to see where this movie fits in the timeline because there was that Easter egg in Captain America Winter Soldier a long time ago. That movie was a while ago where they said that Stephen Strange was a threat according to Hydra. So what I'm expecting is that Doctor Strange won't start crossing over with the Avengers till we get closer to Infinity War, till Thanos starts manipulating reality with the gems. Because in the grand context of things, Doctor Strange is like a protector of all reality. He has this greater responsibility, so he doesn't really micromanage the way the Avengers do. But the other big question, I know a lot of you are asking, Baron Mordo is a very big Doctor Strange villain, so he seems very nice. He even gives him the Wi-Fi password. Shambhala is actually an Easter egg for a big Doctor Strange story that I'll explain in a second. But Chiwetel Ejiofor is a fantastic actor. What I think they're doing is they're just giving future Doctor Strange movies, a place to go. So he's a friend in this movie that eventually becomes an enemy. So think of him in the way you would think of Loki when we start out in the Thor movies. Like he and Thor are brothers, they care about each other, but then Loki learns about his heritage, sends him on this dark path, all this resentment wheels to the surface, and he becomes the villain that he is today. So I'm expecting something similar for Baron Mordo, so when they do start facing off against each other, it'll be a lot more personal. But just to be clear, Mads Mikkelsen is the main villain in this film. His name is Caecilius. Throughout the course of the film, Doctor Strange will become the fully actualized Sorcerer Supreme. So like when you see him furling the cape here, that's probably relatively late in the film. Like you see the montage of him doing the glyphs, like slowly learning magic, learning in the same way that he would learn to practice medicine. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's definitely going to change the way you perceive the Marvel Universe, like the actual physical universe itself. So I cannot wait to see him introduce himself to the Avengers and see which of them just craps their pants. And won't it be awesome to see him pair up with Scarlet Witch? Now her magic is a slightly different thing. Her power flows from the Mind Gem. But don't worry, like if you're confused about how all this is going to work, like the logic of it all, the movie will explain it in a really simple, elegant way. Like it's designed to be viewed by people who have absolutely no idea who Doctor Strange is, so don't worry. Shambhala though, just to explain that Easter egg in the trailer. So Into Shambhala is the name of a really big Doctor Strange story where these otherworldly beings tell Doctor Strange that he can usher in this golden age for humanity. But the twist is that in order to achieve that, he has to sacrifice most of humanity. So it's a very Star Trek-y type arc where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. But the name Shambhala is a reference to the Lords of Shambhala. That's the name of the otherworldly beings that are like, Doctor Strange, you can usher in this new golden age, but you have to kill pretty much everybody on the planet to do it. So the funny thing about that story though, is that Scott Derrickson, the director of the movie, actually tweeted a picture from that comic book story back in November of 2014. That was probably when he was working on writing the movie. So it's just funny to see that Easter egg show up now, years later. But let me know, what do you guys think about the trailer? It's definitely a much cooler trailer than the last one. And let me know what you think about the visual look of magic in the Marvel Universe. I can't wait to see how they integrate it with the other Avengers stories. So just a reminder, there's a new round of the Marvel giveaway going on right now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. what I'm going to do is there's a couple more Marvel videos that I have to make. There's Thor Ragnarok, there's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then there's a couple more DC trailers that I need to work through. So all that stuff should post through Monday and Tuesday. So I'll be posting updates on Twitter and Facebook on like when videos are coming. But a lot of awesome stuff. I was really happy with the Marvel panel. If you've ever been to Marvel Live, like it's a big live event that they put on, it's kind of like a stage production. That's kind of what the actual Marvel panel was like. Like they definitely have a sense for showmanship. But next video should be Guardians of the Galaxy 2. James Gunn revealed a whole bunch of information. It is going to be the most awesomely weird Marvel movie ever. If you think Doctor Strange is weird, Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be weird in the best comic book way. Definitely my favorite moment was Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, fangirling on Doctor Strange, Avenger fangirling on other Avenger. So while you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for my breakdown of the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer, and you can click here for like the whole panel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.